just going to leave this here for them.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Hunger Project, Joan Holmes.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, 30 years ago, when the Hunger Project began its work, the death toll from hunger-related causes was 41,000 people a day. If we, as a world community, had not taken effective action, that number would now be more than 60,000 each and every day. But we did take action, and it was effective, and now we see the results. Today, that daily mortal roll call has fallen to 20,000. "30 years ago, hunger was considered an inevitable part of the human condition. Today, ending hunger is on the international agenda as a priority. For the first time in human history, our global community of nations, 192 countries, are aligned and committed to a unified plan of action, a plan of action to solve the basic issues of humankind. 30 years ago, the Hunger Project was an idea. Now, we are a worldwide movement with Hunger Project people in 33 countries. The Hunger Project is communicated in more than 140 languages and dialects. We represent all races and nearly every ethnic and religious group on earth. Yes? 30 years ago, an idea. Now, the Hunger Project is an unconventional strategic mission-driven organization with programs in 13 countries. An idea. Now, an aligned group of committed investors who have transformed the very act of giving from a donor-beneficiary relationship to one of authentic co-equal partnership, a partnership with one mission, one vision, the sustainable end of world hunger. Let me congratulate each and every one of you for your vision, for your commitment, for your partnership, and for investing your financial resources. Your contribution is crucial and it is powerful. You are creating a world without hunger. Let's take a snapshot of what's so today. Today, 1/2 of the world's population live on less than $2 a day. That's the international definition of poverty. 1 billion of us live on less than $1 a day. This is abject poverty. And 852 million of us live in the condition of hunger, the most extreme form of poverty. We see that women are the most affected. 70% of the poor are women and children. 80% of the world's illiterates are female. 80% of the world's refugees are women and children. Of the millions of children who are of school age, who are not in school, the majority are girls. 1 woman a minute dies in childbirth. The vast majority in the developing world. In the industrialized countries, 1 woman in 4,000 dies in childbirth. In Africa, it's 1 in 16. But the world is making progress. There's more than enough food. There's certainly enough money. And the world community is committed to resolving this issue. What's needed now is a new understanding of the anatomy of the hunger that remains. If we are going to achieve the end of hunger, if we're going to achieve the sustainable end of hunger, we as a world community need to update our thinking on 3 fundamental issues. Hungry people need to be the authors of their own development. Women need to be empowered to be the key change agents, and local government must be made to work. Then we need to devise programs, create policies, and allocate money consistent with this new thinking. Let's take a closer look at what I'm talking about. Today, as a world community, we do not leverage the tremendous energy, knowledge, and skills of the poor. In many ways, we still see hungry people as the problem, not the solution. The world community has sympathy for the poor and generously offers charity and services. But that is not the same as having an authentic partnership. That is not the same as standing with them in their struggle for self-reliance and dignity and empowering them to achieve it. At some basic level, we as a global community have not yet embraced the poor, the hungry, the oppressed, the disenfranchised, Embrace them as our equals, as our partners, as individuals belonging to the world community with full citizenship. Until we do, and until we empower them to be authors of their own development, hunger will persist. The lives of women are the most tragic. Women are the poorest, work the hardest, and have no voice in the decisions that affect their own lives. They have no say in how many children they'll have, and they have no say as to when and to whom they will be married. And here's the irony. These oppressed, malnourished, and often illiterate women are the key to the end of hunger. They are the key to the end of abject poverty. And here's why. In the developing world, there is a rigid division of labor by gender. Women have been assigned virtually all of the work and responsibility for meeting basic needs. They are responsible for health, nutrition, education, getting enough water, ensuring safe sanitation, gathering wood for fuel, and growing the food. It is through their work that basic needs are met. What causes this to be so problematic is that women are systematically denied the information, the education, and the freedom of action they need to fulfill this responsibility. They are even denied voice in decisions that affect their own lives. I've lived in India. I've been to 17 African countries, and I can promise you that this division of labor by gender won't end anytime soon. So, if we are to end hunger, we need to stop the discrimination and end the subjugation of women. If we are to end hunger, the only pathway available is to empower women to succeed in this overwhelming responsibility of meeting basic needs. Local government is closest to the people and actually has the mission of working with people to have their basic needs met. Unfortunately, in the developing world, these government bodies are largely ineffectual. To begin with, they don't represent everyone. Women have little or no voice. Also, the central government often starves village councils of financial resources and limits their freedom and authority to make decisions. And there are almost no effective ways for people to hold their local government to account. So, hungry people must be the authors of their own development. Women need to be empowered to be the key change agents, and local government must be made to work. Those are the key elements to ending hunger. Until and unless we recognize this, until and unless we act on this, hunger will persist. As you well know, from the beginning in the Hunger Project, we have been committed to the sustainable end of hunger. The Hunger Project has given itself the job to pioneer and demonstrate on the ground that when you mobilize people, empower women, and work effectively with local government, the results are overwhelmingly positive. Basic needs are met. And in the process, people's lives are transformed. All of our programs in every region of the world are based on these principles. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are going to hear firsthand how the Hunger Project's methodology is working every place where hunger persists. And tonight, we have the extraordinary and rare opportunity to hear from women, grassroots women who are leading this effort. Ladies and gentlemen, let's turn first to Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, a country that has achieved its independence as late as 1971, we are mobilizing 10 million people in 10,000 villages. This effort is led by 100,000 trained animators. In our newest strategy, we empower barefoot researchers. Barefoot researchers are volunteers from the poorest areas and are the most destitute people. The vast majority are women. This strategy empowers the poorest of the poor, empowers them to analyze the obstacles they face, devise strategies, and carry out campaigns of action to build lives of self-reliance. We are now going to hear from a woman who is from a village in northern Bangladesh and who, until a few days ago, had never even been to her own capital city of Dhaka. She has taken her first plane ride to be with us tonight. It's now my honor.
আসসালামু আলাইকুম, আমি মমেনা বাংলাদেশ গাইবান্ধা জেলা থেকে এসেছি। আমার লেখাপড়া নাই, আমার গ্রামটা খুব দরিদ্র, তার থেকে আমার পরিবারটা আরো দরিদ্র ছিল। আমাকে ঘৃণা করে কেউ সঙ্গে নেয় নাই।
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Momena from Gaibandha district in Bangladesh. My family is extremely poor and I never went to school. I cannot read or write. My village is poor, but we are the poorest in my village. People used to look down on us.
2005 সালে হাঙ্গার প্রজেক্ট আমাদের গণগবেষকের একটা প্রশিক্ষণ দেয়, আমরা সেখানে প্রশিক্ষণ নেই। প্রশিক্ষণ নিয়ে আবার গ্রামে ফিরে যাওয়া দরিদ্র প্রচুর মহিলাকে নিয়ে আমরা একটা সংগঠন তৈরি করি। সেখানে আমরা 10 টাকা করে আমরা সঞ্চয় বৃদ্ধি করি।
In 2005, the Hunger Project trained me to be a barefoot researcher in my village. I formed a research team of 25 women. Our research team meets and analyzes the details of health and the ways in which early marriage and mistreatment of women make this worse, and we come up with solutions.
সঞ্চয়টা আমরা গর্ভবতী মার পিছে আর ছোট বাচ্চাদের লেখাপড়ার উপরে খরচ বেশি করতেছি আর আয়ের ব্যবস্থা বেশি করতেছি।
For example, we formed a group savings account to help women when there are emergencies like a child falling sick. Another example, we met our local government about our low incomes and they helped us get training and loans for better incomes.
ইউনিয়ন পরিষদে যাই আমরা, ইউনিয়ন পরিষদ আমাদের নিয়ে কিছু গণগবেষক আলোচনা করে, কিছু ঋণ দেয়।
The local government gave us loan and gave us training for better income.
আমরা ফিরে এসে বাল্য বিয়ে আটক করলাম 5টি, আর যৌতুক ছাড়া বিয়ে পড়ালাম 8টি, নারী নির্যাতন 4টি, বহু বিবাহ 2টি।
We formed a women's squad to stop 8 child marriages, 2 marriages to second wives, and 4 cases of domestic violence. We have stopped many more such crimes.
দারিদ্র আমাদের ভাগ্যে নেকন নয়, দারিদ্র সমাজের ভালো কাজগুলোকে পিছিয়ে দিচ্ছে, তবে আর নয়।
Poverty is not our fate. It's a violation of our rights and dignity. We have been held down by fear, shame, and violence, but no more. Today, for the first time, we have the respect of everyone in our village. We respect ourselves, and we are building a better life for our village and for ourselves.
ধন্যবাদ হাঙ্গার প্রজেক্টকে আমাকে এখানে কথা বলার সুযোগ দেওয়ার জন্য। আমি আবার দেশে ফিরে যা সবাইকে মান দিয়ে সম্মান দিয়ে আমি সুন্দর বাংলাদেশ গড়ে তুলতে চাই।
I want to thank the Hunger Project to give me the opportunity to speak tonight. I will go back and form a better Bangladesh for us and for my country.
ধন্যবাদ, ঈদ মোবারক।
Thank you and Eid Mubarak.
Our strategy in Latin America is to break the exclusion and marginalization of the indigenous people and empower and embolden them to know their rights and improve their lives. In Bolivia, we work with 500,000 Quechua-speaking people. They live in villages so remote that the only way for them to communicate effectively is through the radio. With our partner Radio Alclu, we train animators known as People's Reporters. These reporters are a lifeline for their indigenous brothers and sisters. They capture their stories, share vital information, and ultimately give voice to people who have been marginalized for over 500 years. I'm thrilled for you to meet a woman who has trained and continues to work with nearly 1,000 People's Reporters, Ms. Carmen Carrasco.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring into the room tonight people, men, women, and children who have been marginalized for over 100 years. I want to share with you the conditions they endure and what they are doing to change them. and also how they have taken their future into their own hands. Tonight, I will tell you of two women who are people's reporters on Radio ACLO. Their names are Felisa and Celinda. Actually, our plan was to have Felisa here tonight, but that was not possible. As a rural indigenous woman, she was denied a visa to visit the United States. Not being able to get a visa is just one more time in her life where she experienced being disenfranchised, marginalized, humiliated. These are the things that indigenous people endure on a daily basis for their entire lives. But the story I am here to tell you tonight is that it's changing. Imagine just for a moment a 50-year-old indigenous woman carrying with her, as she always does, her portable radio. Imagine her in front of you, Señora Felisa Flores Cruz. Even as a very young girl, Felisa could never sit by quietly, while her community was mistreated. As she grew up, Felisa would listen to the traditional radio station and was outright. These news stories hardly mentioned her people at all. On when he did, the reporting was filled with prejudice against her way of life. That outrage spurred Felisa into action. That's when she decided she wanted to change how her people were represented. She learned about Radio ACLO and the People's Reporter. And she was impressed by how they spoke, which has through on their people's reality. And she decided she wanted to become one too. And now she is one of our star reporters. If Felisa were here in this room tonight, you would feel her leadership. You would experience her commitment to her people. And you will know that the people have a strong voice in Felisa Flores Cruz. Let me you tell of another powerful woman, the Honorable Celinda Sosa. Formerly a Radio ACLO People Reporter, today Celinda is Bolivia's Minister of Economic Development. She used her political office to serve her people. And as she showed us when she worked with Radio ACLO, she is not just talk, she is action. Celinda has shown that a woman, an indigenous woman, can become a minister and can use her power to guide her people. The work that Felisa, Celinda, and the 1,000 other People's Reporters do is causing change. And you may know, in just the last 5 years, Bolivia has undergone drastic changes. While indigenous people are still marginalized, they are no longer invisible. They hold leadership positions at all levels of society, from the grassroots through the very highest office. We have elected our first indigenous president. Evo Morales. And the People's Reporters contribute to making that happen by keeping voters informed and by mobilization support. As we speak, the Bolivian Constitutional Assembly is writing a new constitution. And the head of that Constitutional Assembly is an indigenous woman. During this process, the People's Reporters are vital link between the communities and the Assembly. They keep the people in the villages informed about the progress being made by the Assembly. And they keep the Assembly informed of the issues and concerns that matter most to the people in the villages. This is remarkable, because even though indigenous people make up more than 60% of the population, until this point, they were invisible. Well, not anymore. And Felisa, Celinda, and thousands of other indigenous men and women are making this happen. They are creating a new future. You know, I have dedicated my life to the empowerment of the indigenous community, to empowering them in the right for voice, for respect, for dignity. And that's why I joined Radio ACLO, because I know that the indigenous community holds the answers to the challenges we are facing. They treasures and protect the precious gift of community. They see beyond the individual, and they understand that we are nothing if we are not connected. They value all the life. They value the collective sense of life. Above all, I'm honored and grateful to stand shoulder to shoulder with Felisa, Celinda, and all my brothers and sisters as they build a new future for himself, for Bolivia, and for the world. Thank you.
Africa is the home to the world's most severe hunger. 41% of the people live in abject poverty. In Africa, to empower grassroots people to meet their basic needs, we have devised a holistic empowerment strategy. Women and men make the journey from abject poverty to self-reliance in 5 years. We call this the Epicenter Strategy. This strategy mobilizes close to 3 million people currently. Today, there are more than 80 epicenters in 8 countries in East, West, and Southern Africa. A key component is the African Woman Food Farmer Initiative. Through a program of training, credit, and savings, this initiative empowers rural women to become economic players and respected members of their communities. With us tonight, from the Jolly Epicenter in Malawi, an extraordinary and successful entrepreneur, their chairperson of the Village Livestock Association, our partner, Flora Mtuwana.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Flora Mtuwana. When I was a young girl, working in my mother's field, I never dreamed that I would one day fly to New York. But today, I am here to share my story. I was born into a family of 8 children. When I was 12 years old, my father passed away, and my mother was left to lead the family. That's when poverty struck our family. We often went all day without eating, and life was not just hard for my family, but for everyone in our village. There was a shortage of food, there was no medicine, there was no clean water. Life was particularly difficult for us women and girls. It was normal for women to die while having babies. Almost all of us would walk 12 miles a day with babies tied on our backs to fetch water and firewood. Our husbands beat us for no reason. Men controlled us. It